And it's almost like you don't have control of your feet because the pool of people that are pulling you are moving you around the Kaaba. That really kind of took me somewhere, and I told my dad I wasn't comfortable. Every time I tell the story of Hajj, it's just always warm and fills your heart. It is a journey of a lifetime. Everybody's situation's different. Everybody, how they get there is different. But I think I had a deeper appreciation for going because of what I had to do to get there. And at the time, I was selling dinners, sandwiches, soup, and all of this was my Hajj money. And when people would come up to buy a sandwich or a cup of soup, I would tell them I'm trying to make Hajj this year, inshallah, and this is the money that I'm hustling up to get to Hajj. And people, mashallah, would just give you a donation towards you going to Hajj. And then, being as though that I was going with my father, who had been before, I felt a little more secure. And I remember it was in 1983 that I went. But before you get off the plane, you have to change into your ikram or your Hajj clothes. So when we got there, we were already in Hajj gear. Then they take you from there. They take you to customs. You have to be searched, just like you would be searched, I guess, if you had been arrested. And that's how I kind of felt. I kind of felt violated, okay? But the sister searched me and everything. And from there, it was the long journey on the bus. You made your heart full when you're saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. And then you happen to gaze over, and for the first time, you see Masjid al-Haram, where the Kaaba is. Then it starts getting real, okay? Because you're here now. And then we get started with going to make our first rites. My sister and I were walking Safwa to Marwa. And when you think about Hajar running back and forth, looking for water or food or help with her child that she's out in the desert with, right? And you really start thinking about what you're doing, all right? And then you're concentrating on that aspect of the Hajj. And then you look over, and for the first time, you see the Kaaba. And I'm hitting my sister like, look, that's the Kaaba. And it's so grandioso. And you don't realize that this is the direction you pray in every day, 5 times a day. But now you're here. You just can't do anything but just stand there and kind of look like, but your sister's dragging you. You're like, come on, but you're like, oh my goodness, I'm here. And all of these stations where the Zamzam water is everywhere. And the water is just as cool and crisp and clean. And when you first drink the first bit of it, and you think, wow, this is Zamzam. This is the history. SubhanAllah, the closer you got into the circle to get closer to the Kaaba, the centrifugal force of people going around tightens around you. That really kind of took me somewhere, and I told my dad I wasn't comfortable. And so we went to the second floor, okay? And when we went to the second floor, mashallah, it was easier. But then it was still so congested. We ended up going to the roof. It's no longer like, you're reading a book. You're there. This is real. So that's an accomplishment. That's a big accomplishment to go all the way over there, millions of miles from your home, to pick up your stones, to stone the Jamilah, to stay in the tents, to be on Arafat like Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was for his last speech. All of those things are no longer just parts of history. You're living it, And it was such an accomplishment. And Allah knows if I get the opportunity to ever go back, I'd love to go back, inshallah, with my husband. That would be great. But if not, I've done it. I've done it by the grace and mercy of Allah. Alhamdulillah.